customers and this set of customers. You're either in one or the other, you're not in both. So hence, they are mutually exclusive, so this rule becomes the sum of the individual probabilities. So it's the probability that the person is a Vodafone customer, plus the probability that the person is an Air customer. And these are simple marginal probabilities. The probability that the customer selected is a Vodafone customer. Well, how many Vodafone customers are there? There are 40. There's the marginal total for Vodafone. There's 40 out of 200. So we have 40 chances out of 200. Plus, what's the probability that it's an Air customer? Okay, well, the probability that it's an Air customer is how many Air customers are there? And you can see the marginal total for Air is there's a 100 out of 200, so we have 100 chances out of 200. Okay, so in this particular case here, when we add those two things together, we get, well, I suppose we could reduce it down, but now we just doing it quickly there, we end up with seven chances in 10 we get when we add these two fractions together. Okay, now let's have a look at the situation, okay, where we're calculating a probability where they're not mutually exclusive. Don't forget, this is not mutually exclusive. And let's see how we get on there. Okay, so let's ask ourselves the question: what's the probability that the person selected is a Vodafone customer, or the person selected is a Go customer, meaning that they pay their bill, they're on a pay-as-you-go plan? Well, once again, it's an OR, so we have to split it up into the individual marginal probabilities. Okay, so it's the probability that they're a Vodafone customer plus the probability that they're a Go customer. And now the question is whether these two events are mutually exclusive. Being a Vodafone or a Go customer, are they mutually exclusive? Well, once again, the Vodafone, I'll use blue this time, the Vodafone customers are these customers here. Okay, and the Go customers are these customers here, and you can actually see that there is overlap here. Let's say in here, in this situation here, there's overlap between the Vodafone and the Go customers. So in this situation, we know they're not mutually exclusive. So what we need to do is to take away the joint event. The probability that the customer is a Vodafone customer and the probability that the customer is a Go customer. Okay. Now, there's two ways to calculate this probability. Well, the marginal probabilities, first of all, are straightforward. They're simple probabilities. There's no compounding. Okay, so they're simple probabilities. So we use the marginal totals. The probability that's Vodafone. How many Vodafone customers are there? There's 40. So you have 40 chances out of 200. Plus the probability that you're a Go customer. How many Go customers? The marginal totals for Go are, well, there's 130 of them out of 200. Okay, now. And then we have to take away this probability here. Okay. Now there's two ways to calculate this probability. We can calculate it directly from the contingency table. Okay. By just looking at the people that are Vodafone and Go customers. The people that are Vodafone and Go customers are these 30 people here. Okay. So that's 30 people out of 200. So we need to take away 30 out of 200. Okay. So in this situation here, what we have is we have 40 divided by 200. Okay, plus 130 divided by 200, okay, minus, 30 divided by 200, which gives us a total of, in this case, we have 7 out of 10. Let's just check that again. So 40, that's going to be 4 over 20, which is equal to 1/5. This here is just equal to 40. That gives us 4 over 20, which gives us 1/5, plus that's 13 over 20. Okay. 13 over 20 here. There's no common factors here, and in this case here, this is minus 3 over 20. Okay. So what we got here, this gives us a value of, this is 10. This is going to be 13 20s minus 3 20s gives us 10 20s. So we have 10 20s. 10 20s is the same as 1/2. So we have a fifth plus a half. So in this case here, we have 1 divided by 5 plus 1 divided by 2 gives us a value of 7/10. Okay, so we end up with the same thing that we had earlier on. Okay, that's just, I think, coincidental there. So the way we could calculate this probability here, okay, by just concentrating on the contingency table, was by looking at the joint event, how many people are Vodafone and Go customers. Now, in the last video, we looked at the multiplication rule. And typically when we're presenting from probability theory perspective, we typically do the addition rule first.